They're not sending their best. They're sending people that have lots of problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So more Republican lawmakers have been caught exhibiting behavior that wouldn't exactly fall under the category of family values. So first up is Minnesota Republican Jeff Dotseth. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is currently serving his first term as a state legislator. Democrats are now calling for him to end his reelection campaign because old court filings have come out showing that he repeatedly beat his wife and son. So here's the deal. Here's what the records show. In 2008, Dotseth's then wife, her name is Penny, she called the police. She reported that he assaulted her. So Dotseth was initially charged with domestic assault, and the judge issued a protective order for his wife. And Dotseth wasn't allowed to contact Penny at all. He was also only allowed to see their daughter, who was younger than the son, under supervised visitation. And the court also banned him from owning or using any firearms. Unfortunately, though, the prosecutor allowed Dotseth to plead down. They allowed him to plead to only disorderly conduct. So he was sentenced to only 90 days in jail. And then the court adds insult to injury, literally, by suspending his jail term. So in the end, he spent not a single day in jail. He had basically to only stay out of trouble. He had to comply with the protective order, and then he had to complete a compassion workshop. Complete and utter bullshit. So according to a sworn affidavit that Penny filed along with her divorce petition, she said that he is a violent man. She wrote, quote, "Jeff claims to be a nonviolent person. This is most definitely not true." And Penny described Dotseth throwing her to the floor, kicking her and choking her in the mid-1990s. Around that same time, in another incident, Penny said that Dotseth slammed her head against the wall and choked her. And then in the late 1990s, Penny claims that Dotseth slapped her. So she said she slapped him back, and then he forced her head between his legs and squeezed tightly. And Penny said, quote, "I remember crying and trying to get him off, but could not." She also told the court her son tried to intervene on numerous occasions, and Dotseth physically assaulted him as well. So their son was a child when these alleged assaults occurred, but at the time of her 2008 court filing, their son was 25 years old, and he submitted his own sworn affidavit to the court. He said in this the sworn affidavit, quote, "I have been punched, slapped, choked, thrown, hit with things, and kicked. After his violent outbursts, we would always go back to living life, forgive and move on. It was never long before he would find something to get mad about." Boy, do I know what that's like, living with a dad like that. So Dotseth, of course, denies all of this. In fact, he accused his wife of being the violent one. Because, yeah, a MAGA man can never admit when he's done anything wrong. But according to the Star Tribune, prior to Dotseth accepting a plea deal, he was warned by the prosecutor, we're going to be entering additional evidence. So if this goes to trial, just know, the prosecutor wrote, quote, "Specifically, the incident that occurred in January 2008, where defendant grabbed Penny Dotseth's face, slapped her, and threatened to rip her head off. And, quote, specifically, the incident that occurred February 14, 2008, where defendant held his fist in Penny Dotseth's face and told her he wished she were dead." What a nice Valentine's Day he gave his wife, huh? So the prosecutor also warned him that they would be sharing the 911 call and the transcript of that call at the trial. And what do you know? All of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, I'll take a plea. Yeah, I'll plead to something." And here's the thing. What possible reason would their 25-year-old son have to lie about his father in a sworn affidavit? Right? He's an adult by this point. Why would he lie? So, no, I'm not buying Dotseth's innocent victim story. Next up is the story of 57-year-old Republican lawmaker Mark Green. So these are more recent allegations. Green is a U.S. congressman. He represents the state of Tennessee, and his daughter is calling out his hypocrisy as a so-called man of God. So Green's daughter, Catherine, told the Nashville Banner news outlet, quote, "My dad sells himself in politics as being a Christian conservative family man. His actions in the last whatever year have not been that." So apparently, Green has been carrying on, cheating on his wife of 30 years with a woman 27 years younger than himself. Think about that. When Green got married, his mistress was only 3 years old, if I'm doing the math correctly. I mean, anyway, I'm sure they have so much in common. And in a text message, Green's wife wrote that there are, quote, readily available predators who tempt men like her husband. And she accused DC politicians of, quote, having affairs and getting divorces, drinking parties. She specifically said, those who espouse family values. Wonder who she's talking about. And then their daughter, Catherine, also blamed DC's political culture for her father's affair. She said, quote, over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've really noticed a difference in him. So who knows if that's just the toxic environment that is DC, but something has changed. We've all had to basically grieve the loss of the person that we thought was our father. So anyway, Green filed for divorce last month. He is now asking for privacy. I mean, if you want privacy, guy, maybe you shouldn't go stick your junk in another woman. Just saying. And unfortunately, this hypocritical cheater is likely to be reelected because he represents a very red district. So there you go. 2 more real winners in the Republican Party. Isn't it odd how they all flock to that party? They're so attracted to the party of Donald Trump. Like I always say, like flies to shit. And these are the men who want to tell women what we can and can't do with our own bodies. Because they're such beacons of goodness and morality and, all that jazz, good Christians, quote unquote. Anyway, all right, I will let you all know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. You can donate. Truly appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.